Tonight I had started to do a video addressing what I want to call INFJ paranoia in new relationships, answering a question left by a viewer who was like, man, I'm starting a new relationship and it just feels like I'm afraid of all the things I don't know about this other person. It's a big problem. But I don't think I'm just not in the right headspace to make that. So I'm going to make that a little later this week. So right now I want to talk about something else that I've been stewing with, something that's been stewing in my brain about curating everything that you consume, being a guard, and not just a guard because that's passive, but also taking responsibility for the things that you put into your brain, you know? Because nutrition, when it comes to food, that's obvious. It's like, oh man, I should eat good things, I shouldn't eat bad things. If I eat cupcakes all day, that's bad. But if I eat, some vegetables, that's good. You know what I mean? But it doesn't seem to be so obvious to people that what you put inside your brain matters just as much, if not more, than stuff like nutrition. And so many people in the world they don't think about it. They don't curate what they put in their brain. They don't think about it. They don't try to go about it with any intent. It's just like whatever goes into their brains what goes into it. And what you don't realize is everything that you consume is shaping you. Whether it be food that you consume, either, helping your body or hindering it, but also what you put into your brain is going to either help it or not help it. And it's difficult in the modern world because we're constantly bombarded with stuff. In the 14th century, people weren't bombarded with stuff all the time. What were they bombarded with? I don't know. What their neighbors had to say, what people said at the church. I don't know. Not much. What their cow had to say to them, what their Lord said, but it wasn't much comparatively to now, where people wake up, they turn on the TV, and all day long it's like you're bombarded by the news, and you're driving down the street, you're bombarded with advertisements, you listen to the radio, and you've got people telling you things, you've got the internet where you see stuff everywhere. Even if you are trying to just look at your Facebook to see what, your cousin Fannie Lou posted on her wall, there's a bunch of ads that you have no control over that are trying to sell you stuff, or news articles that are popping up saying, oh man, look what's going on. Look how the world is getting destroyed around you. And you turn on the TV to watch your favorite, program. Who knows what the message of the TV show is, but in between you have all these commercials and whatever. I think at a certain point, everyone kind of realizes, man, I need to think about what I watch. But I don't think that everyone realizes the extent of what it's doing to you. And furthermore, I don't think people realize that you need to go the opposite way and really pick the things that you consume, even if you don't want to. It's sort of like, I don't want to eat my broccoli, but I need to. With feeding your mind, there might be things that it's like, oh, I don't want to listen to this, or I don't want to watch this, but you've got to do it anyway, because whatever you take into your brain is subtly programming your mind. And we all know people who are like, not to pick on anyone in particular, but you see it a lot with older people. I think it's because they retire. They don't, what do they have to do but watch TV? And this isn't like a total out on a limb stereotype. Like, I heard a guy the other day who was like, man, I can't wait to retire so I can just sit at home and watch TV. And it's like, people like that, they just become these passive vessels through which the corporations that run, the TV and all the commercials and whatever are just brainwashing them basically. And it's really bad when these people just watch the news all day. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and all of a sudden out of nowhere they just bring up some weird article of news and it's like, where did this come from? And they seem like really concerned, like, do you know what this congressman is doing? Isn't that crazy? That person shouldn't even be there. And it's like, I don't know who this is. It's not even in our district. We can't vote for him. What does it matter? And so you get people who are like every day working working on reprogramming their mind without realizing it, just letting all these things come in. You just think about, even if you avoid the news, which is hard to do, and people are like, well, Frank, why should you avoid the news? Because the news, I guess you should know what's going on in the world, but the thing is, the news isn't telling you what's going on in the world. The news is telling you what they think you will watch. And so they're telling you a story that is meant to invoke fear. That's really what it is. And so when you're watching the news all the time, you're getting these spikes of fear because why would anyone watch if the news was always like, here's what's going right in the world? They kind of trick you because a lot of times they'll have like one cute story about like, oh, this puppy, saved a family of 5 from a fire. But then the rest of it is just like, here's how the world's going to end in the next week. And by watching that constantly, you're in a state of continual stress. But even beyond that, for those of us who are like, I'm not watching that news no more, the subtle messages that are in all media, most of them are unhealthy. They're not meant to help you grow. They're meant to kind of keep you hooked on what they're selling. And in order to do that, they have to keep you in a perpetual state of need. That's how all marketing works, and that's how all, even entertainment, all TV and music. I'm not saying it's all bad. And, entertainment is good in moderation, but ultimately they want you to come back for more. And for something to push you to improve isn't really going to feel good. You know what I mean? And so those things aren't going to passively come to you because people don't want to sell you that. I mean, sometimes there's a whole industry based on it. Let's not kid ourselves. But if you just turn on the TV at night, it's not just going to be a bunch of stuff that's trying to help you be a better person. And so you need to seek that out. You need to seek things that you can put into your brain that are going to help you constantly improve your mind. And I don't mean improve your mind like I learned how to do math problems, but like reprogram your perspective so that you can be the kind of person who is constantly moving forward and being better. And so, yeah, it's not going to like destroy you to watch America's Got Talent, once a week or whatever. But if all you're doing is consuming and you're watching all this TV, all this YouTube, listening to the radio constantly, watching movies, it might just seem on the surface like it's just harmless entertainment, but there are subtle messages in there that are getting through to you that you don't even realize, and it's reprogramming you all the time to want more of this stuff and to be on board with whatever they're selling. So the point of my message today is only watch Frank James. No. It is to be very careful with what you let into your brain and not just be defensive, but then go on the offense and find good things that you can feed yourself, that you can feed your brain with. Things that'll help you grow and improve. And I mean, the cool thing is that you can identify how you want to improve and then seek out those specific things. And that's what's amazing about YouTube, I think, is that there's a ton of stuff out there focusing on different areas of self-improvement that you can find. Just type in what you want to learn how to do. Just pick something about yourself that you want to work on. I mean, if you think about it this way, the way that most people go around consuming things, they don't think about it and they're just passive and they let themselves be fed whatever society is feeding. So it's like you go to a cafeteria every day, and if they put a nice oatmeal pie on your tray every day and you're like, this tastes good. And you come back every day and you just eat the oatmeal pie they give you. And then after a while, your teeth start falling out and you are developing type 2 diabetes, and it seemed harmless at first. It's just the oatmeal pie, man. Come on. But you were being passive. You weren't saying, I'm not taking that. I want something else. That's how most people are. They just, whatever society is offering up, whatever. And that's the thing, is that all society, that's kind of really nebulous, but it is what we're being fed by, especially on TV and movies and music, and what's on the radio, are big corporations that are, their main interest is getting money. Their main interest isn't making you a good person or helping you develop. I mean, there are some companies that have gotten into certain fields where, they hawk self-development stuff in order to make money, but for the most part, it's just, stupid stuff. It's not meant to help you at all. So basically my recommendation is be very aware, be vigilant, be vigilant even about what you put into your brain. I mean, you don't have to be like super paranoid about it, but start to think about what am I listening to every day? And what are the messages I'm getting? And what messages do I want? How do I want to program my brain? And what can I seek out and put in there? Even if at first it might seem like, this is kind of boring. I don't really like hearing this, or maybe it's even, I've heard this a million times before, but maybe you need to hear it more. These positive things that can help you grow. Because if you hear something long enough, it will reprogram your brain. So it's inevitable, is what I'm saying. No matter what, your brain is going to be subtly changed by the things that pass through your ears and through your eyes. So you can either be passive and take the oatmeal pie every day until you're, a toothless person in a scooter going around Walmart. Or, I don't know where Walmart came from, but, or you can pick what you put in your brain and become what you want to be. You see what I'm saying? So that's my message for today. I hope that maybe my videos are good enough to be part of what you put in your brain. That's a great honor to me that you watch my videos. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in later this week for the INFJ Paranoia video. I think it's going to be a blockbuster. All right, you take care. Stay cool and attractive.